Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Mid-Tier Thoughts. It's me, Austin, and hopefully you're able to watch this on Spotify and YouTube as we've actually figured out how to do the video component. And if you are watching this, you'll notice we actually have sound equipment now. My mom, for Christmas, God bless her, actually got me a pretty awesome studio setup off of Amazon. I've got a light and everything, so we've got some better audio, some better visual, and hopefully just altogether better components to this. And we're going to hopefully move forward with that on both the podcast and the YouTube, making this the best ever and hit 2025 right in the mouth. So with that, let's give a quick shout out to Blackout Coffee. Blackout Coffee is an amazing company that supports the Second Amendment as well as making some awesome coffee. If you would like to have some of their awesome coffee and support your Second Amendment rights, go ahead and check down below in our link in the description. Get 20% off your first order anytime that you decide that you want Blackout Coffee. So moving forward, let's talk about a quick recap of last year. So last year was kind of all over the place. A lot of things happened last year. So kind of finally settled into my home in Idaho, and Mike decided to move last year towards the end of the year, where for those of you who aren't longtime listeners, Mike was my co-host from the very beginning. We had been on together for about a year, and he started going back to school, so he wasn't on as often. He was on occasionally here and there, but we did pretty good with it. Well, we did pretty good together. It worked pretty good together. Dang, I'm trying to speak English and it's not working. But we worked pretty good together, and now we live 10 minutes away from each other. The big hurdle before was that we had worked previously together when we were both living in Spokane, and then he moved, and we were about 6 hours apart from each other. So scheduling and having our lives different and everything was just a big pain. But now it's a lot easier. So hopefully you guys will be seeing more of him on both the podcast and the YouTube coming soon. As we live a lot closer now, it's a lot easier to get together to do stuff. So with that as well, the other few changes that we did was we started the YouTube last year as well. Early last year, we decided to finally start pumping out YouTube videos. And as we did that, learned a lot about the video making process. I definitely understand now why a lot of those people have an entire crew of people helping them. It's a lot to do as one or even two people. But learned a lot about the video making process, kind of how the algorithm works, what's popular, what's not. Slowly increased our production value over time and hoping to really increase the production value of both the podcast and the YouTube really good 2025. So we reached out to a few buddies who have a lot more experience in that world and kind of got a few opinions and got a few ideas of things we can do better. So we're really hoping to bring you guys some awesome content coming this year to just really hit it out of the park and take it to a whole new level of where we've been. So with that, some of the analytics from last year I really want to pump out is that we had something in the ballpark of 200% growth over the previous year, which is fantastic. That's absolutely awesome. You guys are amazing. We're just shy of about 1,000 followers on Spotify, and we're sitting around 3250 or so. 32. I think it's 3275 as of this morning for subscribers on YouTube, which frankly is awesome. That we started not too long ago. We started about a year ago on the YouTube, and so in our first year, I feel like that's pretty adequate. And well, for the podcast, I mean, I'm just amazed that it's still not just me and Mike talking to each other in our basements. It just amazes me how far this thing has grown, and that's all thanks to you guys. We were in 23 new countries this year, so I'm not entirely sure how that tracks that, whether that's VPNs or actual somehow it knows if you're in that country. I do know that we've had some foreign listeners reach out to us, some people from Germany, Poland, Australia, England, a few other countries. So I do know there are some in other countries. Not sure exactly how many. And so all you guys who are non-US based listeners, thank you so much. How you found my podcast, I have no idea what rabbit hole of conspiracies you were down to find us, but thank you. Thank you for finding us. And hopefully you guys get something cool out of it as well. And I'd look forward to listening to, hopefully maybe getting some of you guys on the show and kind of talking about how things are or wherever it is that you're at. That was another thing that we did awesome pretty last year as well, is we had a good number of guests come on the show, and still a good variety of different people coming on. I know Taprack Tyler was on a few times. We had some few outside guests come on. Some really informative stuff. And that's kind of what the whole show has always been about, is really trying to get good information from people out there who have it and getting them on the show, especially if they're voices you may not always hear. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not, some big dude that's going to have like some, this guy's a crazy expert on, 15-year Green Beret, whatever. But there's a lot of people out there who've got really good information that just don't have a platform, and that's kind of what we've been hoping to do, is be that platform for them. So if you're one of those guys, by the way, listening, if you think that you've got something to contribute and you want to talk about it, you can reach out to us at the email provided in the link below. or reach out to us on Instagram, Spotify, however you want to reach out to us. YouTube, same thing. And just let us know that you're interested. We'll try to see if we can't get a hold of you, talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. But yeah, so then with that as well, we were in the top 10 podcasts of over 500 people. So I mean, personally, that to me is huge. That the fact that there's, like some of the other things that these people were listening to as well, because it kind of shows you what these people's top 10 were. And we placed various places with that, but we're being compared with much larger podcasts. So the fact that you guys are taking the time out of your day to listen to what any of us have to say, I think is fantastic and phenomenal, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, like I said, we're the top 10 for over 500 people. We were the top 5 for about 238 people, I think it was, which that to me is astounding, that even more so that we're in your top 5. And for 53 of you guys out there, we are the number 1 podcast you listen to. So either you guys aren't listening to a lot of podcasts or you really like us. But I really appreciate that from all of you guys. I think that is fantastic. It's so awesome to see that, and encouraging on our end, and very humbling on our end to know that there's people out there that care that much to listen to anything that it is that we have to say. So again, I very grateful to you guys. And again, on the YouTube side of things, because I do want to do a little bit of an update on there, since we are trying to focus a little bit more on that as well this year. Having 3,200, actually, I'm going to look it up real quick. I think we're at 3,276. There you go. As of right now, we're at 3,276 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to YouTube, please go and do that. You'll find that our podcast episodes are also uploaded to YouTube, usually about a week or so after they're on Spotify. So if you like having it more on YouTube, you can find them there as well. Or sometimes it's easier to recommend to friends if they don't have Spotify, things like that. Also, you'll find a lot of our videos when it comes to gun reviews, DIY stuff, different gear things, a whole lot of different things out there. So with that, there's been a lot of, like I said, a lot of growth this year. We're really hoping to really hit it hard and grow even more so into 2025. One of the things that you'll probably see, though, and you'll probably notice, is that especially towards the end of 2024, the frequency with which we would upload podcasts kind of started to wane a little bit. And part of that was a little bit of fatigue. And the other part of that was trying to find a way to make stuff better and bring you better quality stuff without just constantly repeating ourselves. And sometimes that can take a little bit of work. Not to mention that between mine and Mike's schedules, our jobs and things like this, we're not always able to get to an episode as quickly as we'd like, whether it be YouTube or whether it be podcasts, whatever. So with that, one of the things we've kind of decided on this year is we're probably going to be putting out content less frequently, but of higher value. So with the podcast, it's a little bit easier because there's not as much work that has to go into producing a podcast as opposed to a YouTube video with having to go out, film, shoot, bring guns, bring people, and bring equipment, do a lot more editing. So with the podcast, we could probably try to keep up on it a little bit better. So we're probably going to try to post 1 to 2 podcasts a month, probably with, again, around that 30-minute to an hour framework that we try to keep, and really focus a lot on higher quality content, better guests, more guests, a lot more, relevant opinions, things like this, and a little bit more planned out. Really try to give you guys something that's worthy of your time. You guys have thought us was worthy of your time, and we want to respect that and give you guys the best possible stuff, the best bang for your buck, so to speak. So with that, like I said, probably not as much content as we'd have had in the past, but more of it. So then with that as well, that's going to translate over to the YouTube. With the YouTube, we were trying to do about the same as a podcast, put out a video a week. We're going to try to hopefully stay around there, but we're willing to, maybe have a few less uploads, maybe 3 a month or something like that, as long as it's higher quality content. And we've reached out to a few friends, kind of looking over our stuff from the last year and see, like, where can we improve, what can we do better. So we're going to hopefully have some better audio equipment and some better filming equipment soon. We've basically been doing this on a borrowed GoPro or on my Android phone. And so you can, because sometimes there's a little bit of quality variance in the videos. So we're hoping to be a little bit more consistent and hopefully try to get a lot higher quality video put out to you. That's kind of our goal, is to improve the audio quality, improve the production value, as it were. We really want to be more competitive, but we also want to give you guys like high quality stuff. You guys deserve that. You guys are spending your time watching our content. We want to give it to you better. We want to give you better content with that. maybe changing up a little bit of the content style, but more just, making sure it looks good, it sounds good, and that, it's stuff you want to watch. So as far as that goes as well, you're going to see a lot more of Mike on the channel, which is going to be fantastic in my opinion. Me and Mike get along really well. I've got great chemistry. For those of you who are newer to the podcast and haven't heard Mike before, go back and listen to some of our earlier episodes. We really play well off each other. And I'm excited to have him a lot more involved with the YouTube space, as it's a lot easier to make really good content when there's multiple voices. Whenever it's just me staring at my Android trying to convey the information I'm trying to convey and show what I need to show, I feel like sometimes some of the personality is lost a little bit because there's not that two-way conversation, which I think can be very beneficial. And so that kind of leads into a little bit of the type of content that you're probably going to see coming forward. So with the type of content we're looking to produce, a lot of it has been going over like my weapon setups and my gear, kind of explaining, what do I have? Why do I have it? What's the purpose? Things like this, pros and cons. So we're going to be doing a little bit more of that as well, kind of comparing and contrasting with Mike's gear. And as we do these videos, you're going to kind of notice the theme here that, I'm much more budget minded when it comes to things, whereas Mike is a lot more buy once, cry once type of vibe. So, and we definitely understand that like with certain things, you should buy once, cry once in general, right? We both kind of agree with that. On other things, we have varying opinions on what, how much is something worth? What should you really be paying for something? So you're going to get a lot of content of kind of that comparison of maybe something that's more entry level versus something more advanced, or something that's more budget friendly versus the more expensive version. What do you get out of the both of these? What are the pros and cons? And what can you expect if you were, if you have the hard-earned money and you're more budget minded, maybe you'll drift more towards what I have to say. If you got, if you want to buy once, cry once, maybe drift more towards Mike. And one thing we'll both tell you is we've both made purchases on our respective end of things that, I went budget minded, he went the expensive route, and we've both made awesome purchases and we've both made big mistakes. I've bought cheap things that I thought like, oh, this will work. It's cheap. It works. And then it's a piece of garbage. It's like, oh, that's why it was cheap. Mike's bought stuff where it's super expensive and finds out that the cheaper thing I do or I have works just as good. So there's a balance to that. And I think it'll be really nice to kind of go through that and get involved with that. Also, we've been able to reach out to a few companies, had a few companies reach out to us to do some gear review stuff. Again, none of it's getting paid for or anything like that. And we want to try to keep it that way, but basically try to give us an honest evaluation of what's out on the market and, what's worth it. Would we buy it, or is it like, hey, I got it for free and that's why I like it? Great example of that is some of the stuff I've got over the last year, some of the holsters that I've had holster companies send out to me. I haven't necessarily brought out yet. I'm planning on doing a video on those, but some of them it's like, oh, this is really cool for free, but I'm not spending my money on it. So there's a lot of stuff like that, and kind of go through there and see, what's really worth your time and what's not. So a lot of that, again, still more gun reviews, still more gear reviews of the things we have, things we want as we get them. So big reminder to you guys too is that, all this stuff at this stage, most of the stuff we're doing is coming out of our own pocket. We don't have an ammo sponsor or anything like that. If you're someone out there that's looking to partner with us or anything like that, we would definitely appreciate it. Also, if you're a smaller company and you're producing something in the gun space, prepper space, something like that, and you want to get your voice heard, like reach out to us. I'm more than willing to throw out a free shout out or anything like that. I'm not necessarily saying like you got to come up with a marketing budget or anything like that. But I mean, like if you're doing good stuff, like we love to support you guys. We'll throw a shout out, throw your name out there in the wilderness and see what happens. And, just see if we can't get you some more business. Cause that's kind of our whole point here, is to rise up together. Was kind of the whole idea of this, was to get voices heard for people in this space that don't usually have a platform, but are putting out good information or good quality products and good quality stuff, and let people know like, hey, they're out there, go check them out, see what you like. So a lot more of that to come too. Also, one of the things I think I'm going to try to organize and see how well we do. It was a lot harder than I thought it was last time I organized it, but over the last couple months, we did wind up organizing a fundraiser for people involved with people that were affected by Hurricane Helene, We were able to raise about $900 for that. And so we're pretty proud about that we were able to raise up some money for those guys. We donated it to Samaritan's Purse, and we were able to get the necessary funds and supplies out to those guys that were affected. With these wildfires raging down in California, we're thinking about doing something similar, trying to reach out to people who are there and see where's the best place that, needs funds or supplies or whatever it is, and what is the best way to help. Is it money? Is it donating supplies? Is it donating time? Who do we need to send it to, and what's the best way to go about this? So we're working on the behind the scenes on getting some of that going. We'll let you guys know once we have something up and running, but that's something we'd like to do again. We want to let you guys know, like, our money is where our mouth is, and we believe in this type of stuff. So even if we're small, we're going to try to do something about this, because I know I speak for me and Mike both, whether it's Hurricane Helene, whether it's the fires, we're looking at this stuff, and fortunately neither of us are in a financial position or in a family position to just uproot and go help people as much as we want to. And we're just staring into our phones, these boxes of tragedy, watching these terrible things happen, and it just breaks your heart. You want to help, you want to do something, and sometimes all you can do at that point is donate money to the people who can. Or donate supplies or time or whatever. So we're looking to do some more stuff like that as well. But just kind of wanted to get out to you guys, give you guys a quick update on what's going on and what to expect in the future, and kind of let you guys know that hey, there's more coming. There's going to be some awesome stuff coming this year. We are planning to hit it pretty hard later this month with some good content, getting some stuff out there, start putting out some really good videos. We finally secured a good spot to do a lot more training. That's another thing too. We're going to be doing a lot more training content as well, and a lot more like how-tos and teaching people, whether it be anything from how to shoot better to tactical team movements, maybe a little bit of medical, basically kind of the stuff that we're training on and stuff that we're trying to do. And if, whether it's teaching it ourselves or whether it's finding someone a little bit more qualified to come in on the channel and teach stuff as well, we're going to do our best to bring some much more higher quality training content in as well with that, and really bring you guys some good stuff. The gun review stuff is great. The gun discussions that we have, showing off some of our gear and equipment, that's always fun, and that's the kind of the sexy stuff. That's what tends to get you guys coming in. But we also want to provide knowledge and knowledge transfer and give you guys good information from just a normal Joe's perspective. If you're looking for the opinion of a Navy SEAL or a Green Beret, this isn't it. Me and Mike were both former Master at Arms in the Navy. I was in for 4 years active with a total of 10 in the reserves altogether. And then Mike did his 4 and got out. So we've got a little bit of military experience behind us. We both worked in the firearms industry for multiple years, and we've been shooting for as long as we can remember. So we've got a bit of experience, like practical real world experience, but the whole point of this is like, we're two average dudes with day jobs that, are not wealthy by any means. And if we're out here and we're hitting it and we're training and we're shooting and we're doing the tactical hikes, we're doing all this stuff, there's no excuse that you guys can't. If we can find the time with our families, you can find the time with yours. And that's kind of the whole point is how do you as a regular Joe stand to compete in this world? You could have someone like a Mike Glover or Tim Kennedy yelling at you all day long, telling you, oh, you got to do this, got to do that, got to do this, got to do that. But it's like, that's great, dude. I don't have a multi-billion-dollar or multi-million-dollar company behind me with 25 years of, combat experience or whatever as a pedigree to say like, oh, hey, this is why you need to pay $800 to my course. It's like, I don't have that money or that time. So, how am I going to compete in a world where that's the, competition? And that's kind of the whole point of this is, it's like, hey, look, I'm not a pro shooter, but I can take you out there and we can pump out a video on how to shoot better, or drills you can run on, to improve yourself, or how to do tactical team movements, how to do simple buddy rushing, how to, set up an L-shaped ambush, things like that. That's kind of where we're at. Is some of it you're learning with us. Some of it it's just going to be documenting what we're learning as we're learning it. Other parts of it, the goal is kind of to be an online resource for people who are new to this, people who are wanting to learn more, but I can speak from experience. Sometimes, if you're new to this stuff, you don't necessarily want to go out and take that super badass class right away because you're like intimidated, a little bit. So it can be intimidating, absolutely, for sure. With some of that, you're like, oh, I don't want to show up and be like the one guy that doesn't know what's going on. And a lot of us too, like time and money is a big thing of that. You know, these courses are hundreds of dollars. You go to some of these courses, it's like $400, $300 to get in. You got to supply 1,000 rounds minimum of your own ammunition. It's a 2 or 3 day course. And now you have to have, lodging and food if it's not provided, which usually it's not, especially if it's not local or not incredibly local. And weirdly enough, like where we're at, there's really not a lot of local stuff all the time, all that much, And even when courses come through, local could mean within a 3-4 hour drive. So it's like, okay, well, now I got to pay for the gas to go 3 to 4 hours out of one way. So I'm either driving 3 hours each way every day after the end of a long course to come home, or I'm staying in a hotel. Well, now I got to pay for a hotel. I got to pay for meals. I got to buy 1,000 rounds of ammo, which isn't cheap, And then I got to buy, the course itself. But before you know it, you're $1,000 in the hole. Not all of us have that kind of money. And a lot of us, I know from the comments on the YouTube and podcasts, things like that, if we go to one of those courses, we go to one, or we don't go to any, and we try to find more local stuff. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. And also, since we are more local, if there is anyone in the Spokane, North Idaho area, Spokane, Washington, Coeur d'Alene area, anybody around there that does want to connect, that does want to be kind of like find your tribe, things like that, get together, do some training, do some shooting, heck, even appear on the podcast or the YouTube channel, that's absolutely what we're here to do, what we're here for. Reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. So with that, guys, again, this is just kind of a quick update on kind of the future of the channel and what our plans are with that. Kind of give you a reason as to why we haven't posted so much, and just let me, kind of proof of life, let you know we're still alive. So with that, guys, thank you so much for joining in on us and giving us your time and attention. So we will see you on the next one, and we are looking forward to an awesome 2025 with you guys. So peace, guys. See you in the next one.